Looks like we're live. You want me to hit the chat? Just I'll remind people.
I got it.
Okay. Good morning, guys. A few of you are probably rolling in. Give it a few more minutes before start yakking. Alec, what are you? What was kind of on your mind? You wanted to maybe talk to these guys about today?
Not much. It's a lot of good news, just one after another. Really, I'm surprised the price hasn't been doing anything.
What sticks out in your mind on the news side?
I mean, there's a bunch. Novogratz was talking about institutional investors getting in the space. The SEC deemed Bitcoin not a security. Well, the chairman said it wasn't a security. I think he kind of left the door open to, I mean, he's pretty much describing Ethereum as a security, but that's another thing.
Did you actually read it? I mean, I just saw the headlines.
I mean, it's just, he's talking about it for like a few minutes on CNBC. So it was no official announcement. It was just the chairman, you know.
Yeah.
But
kind of what Novogratz was saying, that he talks to obviously a lot of big wigs and talking to all the regulators. He said the same thing. Maybe they say Ethereum was a security, but let's move on.
Yeah, it's kind of past the point of how do you retroactively, try to control that.
I don't think that helps anybody. I mean, they have plenty that they can go investigate in the ICO world.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's where they're going. I think they've kind of shown that that's where they're going, at least.
Yeah.
And then there's one more. Coinbase registers what was it? I forget what they registered as, but pretty much means they could trade securities.
Oh, they bought a broker dealer.
Yeah.
So they got that business. Then they set themselves up. They bought an IRA firm, like some digital wealth firm, pretty much like we were thinking.
Yep.
Wasn't that one of the URLs we had? Something.
Yeah, I think so.
Something wealth.
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah, that's interesting though, because that kind of opens the door. I mean, like it or not, that's where a lot of people, start joining the space is Coinbase.
Yeah.
And then being able to take securities on kind of opens it up to 90% of the other tokens on Coin Market Cap. Well, any of the good tokens are usually all securities.
Yeah. There are a few guys on. Good morning. What are you guys trading here this morning? Not a lot of conversation, huh?
I think people are just starting to get in here.
What's up? Was that Micah Treyu? BTC? I have to get these cycles off here. We don't have the next turn on the cycle till the next major till the 19th. So we got another 10 days there on that. Let's just remove that. It's not really useful. Man, we've really been kind of stuck in the mud here. The overall market just has zero energy. Took a little bit off yesterday just because the 4 hour was high. But You know, we're not even off 200 bucks, so 200 points off. It's kind of no big deal. I mean, I covered a little bit of futures just because we've been in this pattern where the futures close on Friday, and then the cash market seems to rally into Sunday. And last week I was probably more short than I wanted to be. So as the market was rallying, instead of taking some profits on some of the actual coin, I stayed long because I was kind of trapped short in my futures that I normally would have covered like Saturday morning as the market started to move back up. And then I couldn't get out. And we basically went from, well, let me switch to the futures chart. Last week we went 74.35. We went out and then basically opened up at 77.50 at the top of the range. So there's not much to do up there as far as I'm not going to cover at the top of the range up here, you know, so I don't want the same thing to happen. So I did bring down my short position, which would make sense. I mean, basically my average is up here. I mean, these are such tiny moves, but it's the right action relative to where price fell from. We're moving back towards the bottom of this regression channel. But this is really just sloppy, knee jerk, small amount of movement relative to what BTC can really do. But we still have an intermediate term downtrend. So we have a long-term uptrend, intermediate term downtrend, and the near term is actually pretty choppy, really a sideways range trade. What's up, Scott? XSN, man, are you still riding that puppy? I just saw your post earlier, Scott. Seemed like a hell of a move. Let me look at it. The bottom of this range, guys, is 74.50 now. But I covered 3/4 of my futures short. Took a little BTC off on the cash side yesterday, so I feel good. If we come lower, then I have cash to buy stuff lower. I don't really need a hedge at that point. Let's switch back over. You had 2 nodes, Scott? That's awesome. What does that pay out? Scott, do you typically I'm taking you have several machines go, like several rigs. Do you just flip your hash rate to the coins that you want to masternode on, or are you buying into the masternode? Wow, that's a nice move, huh? Can't really start a position up here. There's too much angle and distance, but this could have a lot more to go. I would definitely take some up here. You probably did. You've got a lot of distance from the 30, good amount of distance from the 200, pretty good angle, right? We always talk about angle and distance. A climb like this is different than a climb that goes kind of phase transition. You know, when you change states, like in physics, if you look at the temperature, a phase transition goes vertical. The temperature slowly gains, and the state all of a sudden changes, goes from a liquid to a gas, goes boom. Same thing in markets. This is, a steady climb, and then when you go vertical, you gotta take some. But yeah, stay long for sure. It's a nice move. Okay, so you buy the coins. All right, nice. So you don't have any machinery, right? What's up, Dims? Mitch is on the sidelines waiting for some confirmation. Edgeless? Oh, okay. What's the ticker on that one? Edgeless. Online virtual. That's a good way to do it. You know, you don't have to have them all sitting out on your kitchen table. What else is moving here, guys? Let's look at the majors. Majors aren't doing much. Already looked at Bitcoin. Next support on BTC, kind of 73.66. Next support on Ether, 575. I imagine Litecoin is still the cheapest. Probably should look at that. Support on LTC, 116. 115, 116, and then you got the lows from a couple of weeks ago down at 110. That's been a big level. 110, even really 112. That whole zone. What's going on with this chart here? What is this? Man, they're pretty much in lockstep on the daily. Oh, EDG? We looked at that symbol for our coin for Rhythm, and it was already taken. Forgot what those guys did. I'll look at that one in a second, Mitch. This chart's completely off. I think I deleted my Litecoin. Alec, you still there? Or you disappeared?
No, I'm still here. I'm letting you do your thing.
Background. Litecoin on a daily spreads pretty wide. 4 hour, really wide. Bitcoin Cash has come in a decent amount on the hourly. Still think Litecoin looks pretty cheap on a relative value basis. Pretty good moves on Forex this morning. Basically made $1,000 before I even got out of bed. I was short euros coming in, short Dragon we talked about on our team yesterday. We've been short pound versus the yen, euro versus the dollar, euro versus the pound. All that stuff rolled over again last night. So pretty easy morning. Cardano back at 20 cents. Maybe this weekend, if we get BTC a little bit lower as it kind of rolled over with the 4 hour, I'll buy some more Cardano. Anywhere in the teens, really. 19, 18, 17 is a really good buy. Salt, I think, guys, back at $1.85 this morning. We should buy some more of that here for those of you guys that like this one longer term. Yeah, I like salt down there for sure. Edge. Do we have a chart? Yeah, there we go. We can chart versus tether. Scott, we should run a session on how to set up a master node using an BPS, huh? That'd be pretty good. I haven't seen anybody do that in the space yet. I kind of like this chart, actually. Man, talk about a move back when the market was on fire. This is probably what all these alts are going to do. We just need Bitcoin to start making long-term higher highs again. And I mean, 270% gain, huh? Mitch, where are you long from? I mean, there's a huge floor down here at 40 cents. This coin's been around a while. May, at least on this exchange. I think your big risk is below 40 cents. If you crack that, let's see what the weekly chart looks like. Most of these alts, the weekly charts are useless, but this one's actually been around long enough. So that's where your risk is for sure. I would play defense if you got below those lows, because then maybe you can, I mean, it's only 20 cents, but it's still a 50% drawdown. So that's kind of where I would, try to work a position with that in mind. Your lower highs, kind of like the rest of the market, right there, right here. Probably need Bitcoin above 10,000, which would break its weekly pivot, and then you can get this same kind of action where this is making higher highs again. But you could build a position, trade it around. That's a pretty interesting smaller name. You got 40% move just to get back to that prior pivot. It's pretty nice. All right, that makes sense, Mitch. Yeah, you just wait on the overall market. I like that strategy. I like that strategy. The daily cycle is getting pretty low. I mean, when I get something that's making lower lows, what I do is when you think about the cycle or the trend, it's something that's making lower lows. I try to buy, and I spread my buys out more, smaller buys, so smaller size over a longer time frame, and then more entries. So smaller size, more entries over a wider time frame. And what that does is it kind of allows you to work your average and let the price come to you. People that get in the habit of buying lower lows, the market always tends to go further than they think. So if you start buying lows here, it just keeps getting lower and lower on you. So if you're patient and you let the market come to you, it's much easier to buy into that turn. And then there's certain things you look for on what we call the right-hand side of the chart. And that's, when the market starts making higher highs on the intermediate term, when you start taking out daily and weekly pivots, you start getting big, fat, real money candles, which show you where, the big, fat, long, big bullish candles, those are the footprints of the real money. So when you start to see that, that's what's going to show you, hey, pay attention. There's capital flowing into this particular asset. And that's what you want to go with. When you're here, you got to be patient. When you get this, when you get the bullish events, the price proves itself, that's when you want to get aggressive. And you try to time that up with the cycle, and you try to time that up with the start of a new uptrend, which is defined by new higher highs. But you got to be able to recognize when the market is in a new uptrend. Most people can't do that. never really been taught. But this guy is still making, definitely still making lower highs. It kind of is a little bit of a segue, guys, into kind of trading what is. I mean, there's a lot of coins that you're always going to have your projects you like. I mean, it's good to talk about, hey, what coin is really going to, which projects are legitimate. But once you figure out kind of what maybe is going to dominate a market or what maybe is going to disrupt an industry, you're never going to know exactly which one's going to come out on top. I mean, you look at the .com, if anybody was around trading that, you had you had a lot of different names that were going to maybe change the industry, and they had huge runs, but you just never know what was actually going to get bought out or another competitor is going to come in. If you guys remember, like there was Ask Jeeves for a while, was a stock that did really well, but we all know that that didn't really pan out. And, Yahoo stepped in, and then Google came in and just became the dominant player in the internet search engine. But the point is that you can make a lot of money on the names that maybe don't end up dominating the world one day, but you don't have to figure out in advance what is going to be the dominant blockchains. We can just trade. You want to just try to follow the performance of whatever's moving. And it, even if you got it right on this, hey, this blockchain is better than this blockchain, it's what the market thinks. So if there's enough people that believe in EOS or believe in the next project, and the capital flows into that asset, my mindset is, well, I'd rather just play whatever has the flow and just trade what is. You don't have to figure out who's going to be the winner 3 years from now. I'd rather make the money and go with what's working and what's working on the scoreboard. So the question is how do you trade what is? And you want to just look for the charts of the coins that are performing the best. And, EOS is definitely one that started moving first. Same thing with Binance Coin, kind of came out of the gates early here off the April lows. But that's all the psychology of trading. I mean, it's good to realize, okay, this coin is just a bunch of goofballs sitting in their basement. All right, well, how am I going to put a lot of capital behind that? Fine. But when you get to these projects that are well known, that are in the top 50 or market cap, or obviously the whole crypto community is aware of them and they got real people backing them, from there it's just, all right, maybe they're going to be one of the top players, maybe not. But the point is, we don't have to figure that out. We just have to trade what is. So that's where the timing process is going to be a lot more helpful. And you have to be a little bit careful of forming too much opinions about particular coins, because back in the day, if you didn't think Google was going to be the main player and you block out that information, you're going to miss some really big winners just because mentally you set up in your mind that, I don't like this coin. And then you end up missing out on one of the only movers. I mean, the majors haven't done shit for 2 weeks, but yeah, EOS is traded great. I mean, that's one of the only places to make money. Same thing on Binance. Nice lower lows on Neo. Oh, Jack knows what coin's going to come out on top. Is it Jack coin? Jack, did you make your own coin? Guys, Binance was a good example of, you always want to try to take profit on new highs. I think we even talked about that in a live session the other day when everybody was talking about Binance. Always want to take on new highs. From here, I'll probably wait on the daily cycle to put a big chunk back on Binance. Let that come back down here. Bitcoin? I mean, Bitcoin will be on top. I guess what's your definition on top? I mean, are you going to build Are all the world's computers going to be talking to each other and paying each other in Bitcoin? I kind of doubt it. I mean, how can you build any of these blockchain projects on the Bitcoin platform? Last I checked, it doesn't have a smart contract. Anything. I mean, you can have 3 to 5 blockchains that do most of whatever we want to do as far as crypto and the internet of money. It doesn't have to be one project that wins out. And I don't care. What if there's 15 names that rally 400% in the meantime and BTC goes sideways? You don't want to participate in those coins that are doing well. I mean, if you're as a trader, I just want to trade what's moving. I don't need to predict 5 years from now. I need to trade what is. You can make that same argument for Bitcoin on the highs at 18,000. It's just not helpful. Why? I mean, I'm not going to trade any of these other coins because you think Bitcoin's the end all be all. Then there's a lot of different opportunity here in all these other names. I mean, I guess you're not real if you don't want to trade, but if you're a trader like me, I care about missing a 50% move here and there. I care about missing the moves where everything else is sideways and pick your coin is going 200%. I mean, I don't want to miss those moves. Hey, Santiago, did you cover your euro? Probably should buy some Binance back here, actually. The 4 hours getting pretty low. Dash. All right. I cover half of my stuff too. Let's just hit Forex real quick. There's a little bit more day trading going on. Daily cycle, we had a pretty good call on Dragon. I think we failed right at the trend line. We were really high on our regression channel. So yeah, I'm still core short Dragon. I think this is just the start of probably a multi-day move down. We drew so many regressions on this chart yesterday, but I really like that the cycles rolled over. Top of the, top of this regression here is basically, it all lined up really nicely. And so when we go to the 4 hour, this is definitely a short covering opportunity this morning. I covered 3/4 of my short. Into the weekend, I don't try to be too heavy. But then we would just wait on this probably Sunday night. I mean, just wait on this 30-minute cycle, see where it opens up. Maybe even this afternoon, I might try to hit it one more time. There's a pretty good little 15-minute cycle this morning, right into 8 o'clock. Nice lower high, right at about halfway. Boom. Jack, you're short Dragon. Nice. I like it. I think we got a lot of runway to go lower. I mean, we basically we retraced a good amount of this move down. Had a lot of momentum on the downside 2 weeks ago. Got a nice retracement, made another lower high. Maybe we go revisit 144, 143 again. What's dollar yen doing this morning? Um, yen's pretty strong. What else do we do? We had covered our shorts from yesterday. I was selling in this entire move up. We were selling in the live room. And I covered a decent amount at the bottom of the start of this move, and then had a nice opportunity to cover more this morning at Pi. Actually, a pretty good bounce to reshort right now. Actually, I'll resell a little bit of euro pound right here. What else? So covered some euro pound. We obviously covered some euro. I think that was probably it, guys, yesterday. Daily cycle crossed. You ran the stops above 118 and then right back down. Hey, Dan. We just covered BTC a little bit. Not a whole lot of price action. I mean, the bottom of this channel, the intermediate term stuff is all, the bottom of the risk range is 7,450, 7,500. So I covered about 3/4 of my short. I don't want to be short too many futures over the weekend. They kind of tend to rally the cash market up. And then maybe they'll take it down this weekend. But I made some pretty good sales into the move up here above 7,700. So got some cash now. Covered some futures. I'll just stay a little bit short into next week. And then if we do drop a little bit and we test kind of 7,400, then probably going to buy some Litecoin. That looks cheap on a relative value basis. Rebuy Ether. We talked about like salts off pretty good this morning. Euro 4 hour, we're right at the bands. That cycle's pretty low. Looks like that was probably it though. Big picture, another lower high. Held Pi on the 30-minute this morning. What other crypto names you guys want to look at? Santiago on euro. I mean, yeah, we may bounce. Well, what time frame are we talking about? 4 hour? I think, I mean, obviously, remember we were making some core sales. We talked about, fading this on smaller size, but over a couple sessions, right? So any of these sales we made yesterday or the day before is all a short covering, a short covering opportunity here as the cycle's low. Whether or not we hold here or we just break right to 116.5, or we could have another bounce back up, maybe to the underside of 118. Anything's possible. But definitely this is a short covering opportunity here in case you do get a higher low, right? With the 4 hour. So you got to cover some here. I mean, each time we've gotten down on the intermediate term, this has kind of been the bottom of the range. This is the top of the range, right? You can lay a regression right over the top of that. So that's all I was saying about that. I mean, I'm still long-term bearish, obviously. OCN, what's up, Mike Wolf? OTN. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I mean, I know some of you, really believe in Bitcoin, and that's great. I mean, I do too. But I still, I guess, don't really realize why you'd want to chart it all the time in BTC if you can find chart it in your local currency. That would be the best thing because it's an asset. It's not money. It's on a completely different side of the equation. I mean, I care about it versus BTC because it shows me whether it's cheap to Bitcoin, but it also doesn't really show me what the value of that particular coin is doing. Because what if BTC had a spike move to 30,000, just say in theory, within 5 minutes? Your coin is going to look like it completely collapsed, and that's not the case. It just went. It hasn't moved. Just Bitcoin's moved. I mean, has nothing to do with, like, I can value my house in Bitcoin, and then what if Bitcoin goes 10x in a week from now? Does the value of my house drop by 10 times? No. I just decided I want to price my house in BTC. It doesn't make any sense. Well, if you're only in it to earn BTC, I guess I get that, but you still should want to chart the asset versus the dollar, because if I want to make a bunch of gains on this particular coin, I want the coin to go, I want to see what it's really doing versus dollars, because then I can sell this coin for dollars and buy more Bitcoin. Right? So it's not about picking. It's not like, hey, I don't believe in Bitcoin, so I don't want to chart in Tether. I mean, it's just about trying to figure out you got to look at your particular asset through the right lens. I mean, when you understand the FX risk, assets are on one side of the equation and money is on the other. I can't value a company that's based on the Turkish lira if the lira is absolutely collapsing. I mean, that's completely, if I'm looking at an asset and I'm trying to price that, or if I own that in liras, or if I'm doing the deal in liras, it totally changes the whole view on this particular asset. Or you have to understand that the FX risk is because whatever the society deems as money, that's on this side of the equation, and your asset is on this side of the equation. If you want to lend something out and you want to take in whatever money or currency on what you lend, you better believe you understand which way the currency is going. It's going to completely change whether you make money or lose money. So we just want to care about, hey, is whatever coin that I'm long or short, I want to just be able to see, is that thing really moving or not? Like, what is the actual coin doing? Is there capital plowing into? I mean, is it rising? Is it falling relative to how much I can sell it for? I mean, it does matter, obviously. Yeah, can I sell this coin and be in Bitcoin on a relative value basis? One is going to outperform the other, and it shows me if I can buy more Bitcoin right now versus. Anyway, I think I've made that point enough times. This coin's kind of tough. It hasn't traded a lot. It kind of has a lot of wide swings. It's probably pretty thin, right? Still making lower highs. I mean, lower high, lower highs, lower highs. I don't know how much is trading in these pops. If you can, if you can, if you can trade it around, it's kind of like market making. If you can put some bids in here and get filled, and then you put offers in above the market, I mean, there's 20 cents between here and here. I don't know how much you can do that on some of these exchanges. I've tried to buy smaller coins on like these crappy exchanges before, and I try to put offers in, and I hardly ever get filled. I mean, but that's kind of a cool way to trade around your core position. I mean, this coin's still in a long-term downtrend, just making lower highs. I'd say you got to get kind of you need one of these candles, but you actually need some follow through. So that was a really bullish candle, but then it experienced zero follow through. Right. So you want to see that back above the bands and then actually see another day or another week. And then maybe you can put together a rally. Tron. TRX. This is this was another example, kind of what I talked about earlier. I actually got a hop here, guys, in a little bit, but getting above, regardless of what you think about the coin, as a good trader, I'm not going to stay married to a particular project, and if I'm just want to concern myself with making money in the trade, then Tron was actually one of the first ones to break out. It got above these lower highs, and the entire market was settled into that intermediate term downtrend. It was one of the first to break out and then had a nice run. From here, after this move, we've kind of digested a lot of that gains as far as price, but then also, a good amount of time has gone by. So time kind of heals. And I like the fact that you got it back here near the 200. It's about, if you look at that move up, guys, it's about halfway. So that's our wall concept we use, basically a 50% retrace. So I kind of like nibbling here. You want to see it hold to 200, you can either start nibbling or you just wait for like a bullish engulfing setup, which is one of the coins we teach in our model. You basically have a bearish candle and then that gets erased and the bulls take it out. It's a bullish engulfing pattern. The bulls basically take it and do a 180. If you can see that here at the 200, that'd be bullish. And then if you can get above the 8, that's actually bullish too. You have a swing line here. See if you can turn the 8 back up, the 8-day. And then that might be the start of another, maybe you got another leg up. If you can't hold the 200, then probably going to fall back into the middle of this base down at whatever level that is, 4 handle. Hey guys, the other thing I was going to say, a couple of you are in the chat. We were talking about Forex and we had a pretty good week. We made money every single day last week as a team. So there's just not a lot of groups that get that consistency. But as part of the coaching that we do, part of growing as a trader, it's not about, hey, following my trades. It's not about me saying, this is how I trade this particular, and I trade this particular fashion. This is how I do it. A lot of traders, it's about the habits that you have. So if you ever try to day trade, you realize you're going to hit different plateaus. I mean, I remember when I did it on the treasury desk, there was times where I kept pressing. There was a couple of things I kept doing that I would give back big days. You'd be up like $3,000-4,000 before the stock opened, and then give it all back and end up being down like $2,000 on the day. And that sucks to spend your whole day on a desk trading well. And then a lot of times I was pressing into the lows. So there was a time in my career where I kept selling lower lows. And so it took me a while to first realize that and then build an actual trading rule around that to stop doing that. I call it pressing. And that tends to happen as a trader when you want to make the bigger money. You've been consistent, but then you want to really, instead of making $500 a day or $1,000 a day, you want to start making $2,000 and $5,000 a day. And so you can start building these habits where you end up pressing. But every trader is different. So a lot of the trading habits or the things that maybe you're struggling with on your trading, you're not going to really know what the answer is by going inside your own head. It's like anybody that does anything at a high level, you can pick your profession. They usually have a coach, and that's because you're not going to see what you're doing well and what you're doing wrong necessarily by observing yourself, but you're also not going to have the answers. You're not going to be able to ask yourself the right questions inside your own mind to get to the right answers, because if you already knew the answers, you wouldn't be stuck where you are, right? If you already knew what questions to ask yourself, what am I doing wrong here, and getting to the end solution to end that habit or to achieve that change. If you already had all those answers inside your head, you wouldn't be where you are at. You'd be achieving the success, and you'd be growing, and your equity curve would be moving forward. So it takes a coach or somebody to step back and not tell you what to do, not say, hey, do this trade, or hey, hit your forehand like this. It's about asking you, hey, have you thought about doing this in your backswing? It looks like you keep doing this. Why are you doing that? Oh, well, I never realized I was actually doing that before. Okay, that's step one. Well, then ask yourself, why do you keep doing that? Well, I feel like when I'm in my backswing that my elbow is too high. Or I don't know. I don't know. Let me think about that. I never really thought about that before. I think the reason why I bring my swing so flat is because I've always been taught to do this with my right foot or something. And so then by somebody stepping outside, a coach asking the right questions to helping you get to the answers that you need. It's not, it's not always this work for me, do this. It's, hey, what's going on with you as a trader? I gotta ask you the questions. I gotta see your trades and say, hey, okay, it looks like you're doing this. Why are you doing that? And then you have to get to the answer, because you have to go inside yourself to change whatever it is that's going on inside you so that you can get the results you want. It's not about, it's not about me. That's what people get about good coaching isn't about telling people what to do. It's about asking the right questions and as you work with that person. Anyway, I meant to talk about that this morning because we had a couple chats going on kind of along those lines. But that gets into the psychology of trading, but it gets into having a trading plan. And, there's so much to treating it like a business and a real profession where you can come in every day and pull money out of the market. It's not about, hey, you're just in a raging bull market. Can you really be consistent? That individual, that trader, you better believe they got a process. They've worked on it. More importantly, they worked on themselves. And so there's lots of steps to that. That's what we do in the coaching. It's about being aware first. It's about identifying the actions you're taking, why you're doing what you're doing. Most traders aren't even aware of what the hell they're doing. They're just clicking the buy and sell button all over the place, trying to get lucky. I saw some crappy post somebody did about why trading is gambling and trying to make a case. That's just complete garbage. I would say most people approach trading like gambling, but when you treat it like a business, when you have a process and you stick to that process and you execute it, it's no different than any other profession. It's actually a lot harder than most other professions because the thinking is completely backwards. But if that resonates with you guys, what I'm talking about on the coaching side, go to jenkinsrm.com. Alec, if you got a hot buddy, I know you're kind of in the background. I'll talk to you later.
Right.
Guys, right here, jenkinsrm.com, underneath our education stuff. This is where you're going to really grow as a trader. The course is great because you're going to learn the model. It's great for just getting people to understand price, how to really identify a trend, how to take setups, but then also understanding how markets move, the energy, the physics behind it. And then the whole concept of time is never really talked about. All your consistency is going to come from this understanding of time and cycles. You're going to get that from the course, but then the coaching is where you're really going to make your biggest strides and improvements as a trader, because I can work with you again and go inside of what you're doing as a trader. Everybody's personality is different. So I can show you, hey, what works for me, and this is how I do it. And you'll have a lot of success emulating that. But really, at the end of the day, when you're sitting down, you're trading 10 years from now and you don't need me anymore, you're going to have to know yourself and what you're susceptible to, what mistakes, what things that you know yourself that tend to get you in trouble. And then you also want to know the things that you do well. But all that we do on the coaching side. You got to do that in the live session. Anyway, guys, hopefully we'll do some more crypto in the room today. I got to hop. It was my girlfriend's birthday and told her to take her out on the boat. So we got to go meet a bunch of friends. So I'll be goofing around the rest of the day. What's that, Brian? Binance working? No, I don't know, guys, on that. But hey, enjoy the rest of your trading day. Forex might probably slow down. It's been a pretty good week there. It's nice to see the euro roll over at the end of the week. So maybe that was it into 118. But anyway, I look forward to seeing some new names in the coaching. You guys could come in the chat room too. It's on that same page if you want to ask me some more questions about how to join the team or any types of questions on that. The chat room right here. Is free to join, so you can come in and message me if you got questions. All right, Scotty, we'll talk to you later. Brian, Santiago, Daniel, Allison. You guys have a great weekend. We'll talk to you.